Hi, kindergarten families. Welcome to our distance learning open house. My name is Miss Kirby, and I will be leading you through the beginning portion of our open house presentation. Here is just a quick look at our kindergarten visual distance learning schedule. We have shared this with you. This is just a really nice resource for your child. If you can, we really recommend printing this and hanging this up in their workspace so that they can refer to it throughout the day. They can look to see what's coming up next. So if you can, print it and hang it up. That would be super useful for your child. I am going to talk a little bit about our kindergarten curriculum. So you'll get a little sneak peek of what your child will be learning this year in kindergarten. For reading, writing, and phonics, the Parkway teachers use Lucy Calkins' units of study. We begin our reading block with shared reading. Shared reading is personally one of my favorite times in our day. It's a shared reading experience. So we're reading together, we're sharing the book together. They are learning early reading behaviors, and they're really just beginning to develop that love of reading. Star name of the day has already started. You probably have heard it. Star name, we are learning each other's names and we are studying the letters in those names. So it's just a great way to learn about each other, but also start learning about those letters and sounds. There's lots of fun activities that we do within Star name of the day. Um, Poetry. So each week in kindergarten, they will learn a poem. We will read that poem every day, and within that poem, we teach them new sight words. We sing songs. They have worksheets where they get to trace and color and build. Um, in your child's big ol' my kindergarten sight word packet, on the second page, there is a list of all of the 70 kindergarten sight words that we will introduce this year. Your child will be expected to read at least 50 of those sight words by the end of the school year. So for reading, we teach a little reading lesson, teach them about what readers do, and then they go off and have that independent reading time to practice those skills. Eventually, that independent time, we will have small groups where we will have our reading groups. Your child will meet with your teacher and focus on other reading strategies at their level. Our goal as kindergarten teachers is to meet your child where they are and move him or her forward. So no matter where they are right now, we're going to meet them there and we will push them forward. For a writing workshop, it's the same thing. We have a little writing lesson. We teach them all about what writers do, and then they go off and they make books and they are writing. This year in kindergarten, they will learn how to make a how-to nonfiction book, a persuasive book, a pattern book. They will learn how to write a personal narrative, telling a story about their life. The big thing of writing in kindergarten is about their strong letter sound connection. So this week they're going to learn about brave spelling. Parents, it's important for you to know about brave spelling as well. So brave spelling is they are brave. They are recording the sounds that they hear, even if they're wrong. We want them to try and be brave and just write. At the beginning, they may just hear the D in dog. They will eventually hear the D and the G, the beginning and the ending sound. They'll learn that all words have vowel letters in them, so they will hear the D, O, G. They'll hear D, O, G. So be patient with them. Their words should not be spelled correctly. We are just encouraging them to write what they hear. All right, so math. We start math with the math routine. This is just great daily practice of counting skills, building that number sense. We do rotate those activities in the math routine depending on what math topic we're in. Right now, we're starting with counting and cardinality. So they'll be learning numbers 1 through 10, how to identify them, write them, learning how to organize count 1 to 1. They'll be learning about greater and less than, comparing numbers. We always have a little mini lesson, and then they'll have independent practice in their workbook. And then they'll always have some math workshop time where they have some choice, Dreambox or doing a fun math game that we've previously taught them. Science and social studies, when we're in the classroom, hands-on activities, it's just an exposure to a variety of topics. This week we are learning about the season of summer. That seasons and weather unit will go all throughout the year. And in social studies, we are starting with Super Friends. We are getting to know one another, celebrating each other's similarities and differences. Um, so science and social studies is all just about exposure and conversation and having fun. All right, and then we have play. It is big and bold on this slide because it is so important. Your 5 and 6-year-old, they learn so much through play. In a normal kindergarten school year, we have learning centers, which is just a free playtime where kids get to be 5 and 6 and choose what they want to play and pretend and have fun. Playtime is super important. They learn so much through play: how to problem solve, how to self advocate, how to interact with peers appropriately, sharing, taking turns, all those great things. So, in a normal kindergarten world, we would have it. In our distance learning schedule, there isn't really a whole lot of playtime built in. So, please take any opportunity you can to encourage your child to play. At the end of the day, if your schedule allows it, please just let them play and have some free choice, because it is so important that those little guys move around and have fun and play. The Seven Habits is a character education program that we use here at Belle Reve. It teaches all students to take responsibility for their behaviors and choices. All students have special strengths to share, and every student can truly be a leader. So in kindergarten, we teach one habit each month. We talk about that habit, read it, and we really embed it within everything that we do. The Seven Habits language is just common all throughout Belle Reve. Every teacher teaches it and knows it, so it is great to know. And these habits truly just help kiddos be the best versions of themselves. Organizational tips and reminders. Dr. DeBosch shared this with you guys, just Bolt's tips for distance learning, how to stay focused and be a good listener, and how to participate. Please make sure that you are on time, do the best that you can. But most importantly, on Sundays, that kindergarten newsletter, the weekly blueprint, is going to come out, and it's just a little peek at the week. So it talks about what we're going to be learning that week. It also shares what papers you will need for each day. That is most important. Please help your child get organized for the day. Um, Take a little bit of time before you get on so that they're ready to go. If they take time throughout the day trying to find papers, they're missing out on the lessons that we're teaching. So please help them get organized. Schoology, please be sure that your child is logged in with their Parkway account when they go through Schoology. On their Chromebook, their district Chromebook, there is a Parkway bookmark bar. Um, and that gives them access to Schoology and Clever. Hopefully, you've bookmarked Clever so that your child can get in there. Clever is where all of the apps are: Dreambox, Epic, BrainPop Junior, all the things that they will use. Um, your child's teacher Google Doc for the Zoom links, please make sure that that is also bookmarked up there. Your child should be able to independently go to that Zoom link and head to PE or music or art, or go to the all kindergarten Zoom link. Please practice so they can get there on their own. And then again, the resource section of our kindergarten Schoology page also allows you to get to Clever. There's lots of different ways to get there, but please make sure that your child, more importantly, knows how to get there.
Hi, kindergarten families. It's Mrs. Burden, and I'm going to start by talking to you about digital citizenship. So, for kindergarten, we say that means being a leader while using your device. Mrs. Beal met with us all last week, and she talked about being safe, being responsible, and being respectful. And we've been talking to your students every day about things such as sitting up straight, looking at their camera, making sure their little faces show up in the camera box. I know it's hard for kindergarten students, but trying to keep your wiggles to a minimum and the amount of movement that they're doing, walking around your house with their Chromebook from a chair to a couch to the floor, back to their chair to a bed to a desk, it is very distracting. So we are asking them to kind of keep the movement down to a minimum and to try their best to stay focused on the screen. We know that it's a long day, but we start every day by talking about doing our personal best, and that goes along with digital citizenship as well. Facial expressions say a lot to the people who are online. And remember that when we're together, we're all seeing each other's faces. So, grumpy faces, pouty faces, eye rolling. We've talked about this with them as well. It just does not convey a very nice message. We want to be kind to our friends and our classmates, our teachers, and make sure that we are, again, giving our personal best. We've talked several times about keeping snacks and food off the camera. We have lots of breaks, which is great time to get a snack, eat your lunch, obviously. But having a lot of food and food crumbs and sticky fingers all on top of your Chromebooks is not great. And we know there has to be some kind of idea that they are at school. They wouldn't be eating food nonstop if they were at school. So we're asking to kind of keep your Chromebook safe and also to keep distractions like food and drinks kind of away during school time. Keeping a closed up water bottle with a tight lid nearby is obviously a great idea. But again, just kind of watching your Chromebook for safety purposes. Favorite stuffies or fidget toys, we've talked about having them, but making sure they don't become a distraction. It's okay to give them a good squeeze or have them next to you or in your hand maybe every once in a while, but then again, your focus should be on your computer, on your teacher, on your friends. If behaviors become a huge distraction, then there are consequences, maybe such as being put into a waiting room, emails and phone calls to parents, and conversations with Dr. DeBosch as well. If it's something that is interrupting learning, we don't ever want somebody's behaviors to interrupt their own learning and then the learning of their friends as well. Here are some just images to help kind of think about your child's learning space, how to help them sit up straight, prop their feet up. If they're not touching the floor, that's good for their back, their neck muscles. Sitting hunched over all of the time, I'm already starting to find myself with neck and shoulder pain if I'm not careful. For a child laying on their stomach or kneeling at the computer, trying to make sure your computer is eye level, or using a therapy ball. Those are all good substitutes. You want to make sure that they're in a good, comfortable position. The more comfortable they are, the easier it will be for them to stay focused and to attend to what's happening on the computer. Here are just some cute little pictures of Miss Kirby's nieces getting ready for their school day with their own little spaces. Again, we know that every household is different. If you don't have your own desk in your house and your child doesn't have their own desk space, that's okay. But coming up with some kind of workspace so that they can become independent, they can avoid distractions. We know that many times there are siblings in the room, younger siblings, or even siblings who are doing their own schooling. If they are constantly in each other's face and space, it's going to make it hard for anyone to pay attention. So even if you don't have your own desk, maybe setting up a space in the corner of the room, you have a pillow propped up, you have your supplies nearby. You want to help build independence for your student, and giving them a space that they consistently go to every day for school will definitely help with that. Okay, so the idea of having your child's personal space kind of figured out is going to take us right into the idea of this building stamina and independence. So, if we want our kindergarten students to become more independent, we need to set them up for success. We know that there are lots of things being thrown at you in the beginning of this school year with distance learning. A lot of programs, a lot of codes, a lot of passwords, and it's not easy right now. We understand that, but it will get easier, we promise. If you kind of take the time right now to coach your child and help them navigate through these systems early on, they will become more independent. They've already become more independent since day one when we were just practicing muting and unmuting. The kids have that now. They know how to do that. And I promise the more you practice with them, going in and out of their Zoom links, their Schoology account into Clever to access things like Dreambox and Epic, the easier it will become for them. If they have their own little space for learning, their supplies are nearby, and you have practiced these different adjustments throughout the day, that will definitely help them become more independent. And you will not have to come in to help them as often, which would be amazing. Kindergarten students can become super independent with Chromebooks. We see this year in and year out. They become so independent that they can start teaching me things on the Chromebook that I didn't know. So again, if we take the time to teach them now, it will be okay. They will learn how to do these things. We know that the afternoon sessions are long right now. So as far as their stamina goes, it makes sense that they are getting wiggly and more squirmy as the day goes on. We have talked several times about having a little basket of activities and enrichment toys that don't make a huge mess, but they can work on when they need a break, or they can work on if they finish an activity early. If they have that little box of toys nearby, that could definitely help them. You know your child best. So if you are seeing that they need a break at a special time every day, it is absolutely okay for you to turn off the camera. Asynchronous time is a great time to take breaks, and Mrs. Amen is going to talk about that in just a minute. But if you turn off your camera and we come to check on your child and we see that their camera is off, we will understand that you are doing what is best for your child, and they might have needed a little extra break, a little 5-minute break to get up, stretch, run around, or play with a toy or a puzzle, a favorite thing for just a few minutes, and then get them back to rejoin us. Again, we want to build their stamina and their independence. So we want to keep those breaks kind of short and then try to bring them back to us. It will get better. It will get easier. It's just going to take a little time to adjust. And you will find that you won't have to be handing them things as often if we can get them organized now. In fact, we don't want you to be the one who's finding their papers every day and finding their workbooks. You want to turn some of that responsibility over to your child. So if you put in a little bit of time and effort and practice now, it will be easier.
Hi, kindergarten families, Mrs. Amen here. I'm going to be walking you through the last part of our presentation. You've probably been hearing the terms synchronous and asynchronous learning thrown at you a lot in the past couple of weeks. I'm here to better explain what those terms look like for your child and family. Synchronous learning means we are all learning together. This could be a class meeting, an all kindergarten meeting, or any live teaching that's done with your student. All of our live lessons will be recorded, so students have access to them in case they are absent and need to watch the instruction later. Because we will be recording all of our live teaching sessions, please make sure that your child's video is muted if you do not wish for them to be seen on the video. Please also know that their name does not appear in the video once it's recorded, and these videos will only be shared with people within our classroom on a secure site, Schoology. Asynchronous instruction time is when the students are doing independent work. During the synchronous time, we will give them an independent task to complete, whether that is a worksheet or reading or a game or a writing assignment. During asynchronous time, students will be working on their own. During this time, we'll be giving individual check-ins with students, and later on down the road, hopefully doing some group work with students. We are going to handle our asynchronous time in a couple of different ways. One way is placing students in individual breakout rooms. In these individual breakout rooms, the students are still a part of the Zoom meeting, but there is not the distraction of other students. They're still within the Zoom to ask for help, but they are just working alongside their computer, and the teacher can pop in and check to see how they are doing. Another way we'll handle asynchronous time is having students work nearby their computer but stay logged into the meeting in case they need to ask for help, or so the teacher can keep an eye and see if they're completing the task that was assigned. If you or another adult is nearby to support your child and make sure he or she completes the independent work that's assigned, feel free to step away from the meeting, whether that's just by muting your child's audio and video and working away from the computer, or logging out of the meeting entirely and rejoining at the next synchronous time. Right now, we're just trying to find a balance between screen time and stamina. We don't want our students to be staring at a screen for a long time, but we also know that they can only do an independent task for so long without any adult support. Last week, you've probably logged into Clever for the first time. Clever is kind of like a bookshelf for the resources that we are going to be using during our distance learning. You can log into Clever with your child's Parkway email address by going into Google Chrome, clicking on the parkwayschools.net bookmarks, or by going through Schoology resources and clicking on Clever Connection. Once inside Clever, there's some pretty amazing resources that can be a part of your child's daily learning. BrainPop is one that we usually embed into our lessons, but your child could use it on his or her own time to explore a topic that he or she's interested in. Epic for Students is an online library of books for elementary students. Our students have already started to experience this app and how awesome it is. There's books that can be read aloud, audiobooks, and regular books that your child can find that fit their interests. Teachers will assign books and collections, and we see a log of all of the work that your student is doing when they're on Epic. The last one is Dreambox. Dreambox is a Harvard recommended adaptive math game. That means it takes your child where he or she's at and works on their level. So for our students who excel in math and need a bit of a challenge, this is a really, really great tool. If you are experiencing any trouble with your technology, please reach out to the Technology Help Desk for more information. This could be Chromebook help, password help, Zoom assistance. They are there to help with anything. You can reach them by phone at 314-415-8181 or by email. Please know that they've been experiencing a pretty high volume of calls at the beginning of this school year. Finally, there's two more resources that we are going to be using this year. Seesaw, which is a parent communication app and a place for your child to do some more work from home, or Reading A to Z, another reading resource that we're going to be using. We know we've given you a lot of information at the start of the school year, and so please know that these resources are coming soon. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. Please join us at our kindergarten open house on Zoom this Wednesday, September 2nd, from 6:30 to 7 or 7:15 to 7:45, whichever time works best for you. We'll be holding a Q&A session. So any questions that you have after watching this video, please submit to the link that your child's teacher sent, and we will answer these questions within our Q&A session. And then at the end of the meeting, we'll open the floor to any more questions. Thanks again, and we will see you on Wednesday.